What up, my freaks? RuinouSinsight here with part 49 of my Total Warhammer 3 modded Belegar Ironhammer campaign. So as we saw last time, the fortress of Vorag has fallen, the capital of the Knights of Kalador, now that they, well, I guess Ruin's End is, hey, rude, their new capital, but by and large, Imric has been kicked to the curb. He has no armies remaining in 2 settlements, and those shall fall shortly. Or at least, that's the idea. Ooh, can you do anything to this? Not with the amount of money that we currently have, but that may change shortly, because we ended off last episode right about to attack the Gronti Mingol with Grimly Quarrelseeker. This will be the first take of the enemy territories belonging to Scarby, although I did want to double check exactly where Scarbrand was located. I know for a fact that we had a mission to kill him, and though the question is from who? Ally missions, kill, no. Somebody wanted us to kill Scarbrand, didn't they? Or am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Alright, who is this? Scanarath. That's this guy, okay. King Sahut? Okay, that doesn't help. Alright, I guess we can't know where Scarbrand is. I'm just a little bit worried that we attack Gronti Mingol only for Scarbrand to attack us with a full stack and destroy Grimly right after, but I guess we're gonna have to risk it, because we're right here anyway. Now, we got 1 point to spend, so spend it we shall right now. You have triangulation. We could go through requisition, as the arrows are certainly something that we do have a tendency to run out of, or quarrels rather. The alternative would be to get increased mobility right now, but no, you know what? Let's get requisition first, and then maybe even sapper just for the additional speed. Anyway, Grimly, it's time for you to attack. Go into regular stance and head out to Gronti Mingol. You are hurt, but hopefully not so hurt that is there a Scarbrand? Okay, I don't see him. Alrighty, Pyrrhic victory. Apparently, this place does have a defensive garrison as well, so we do have to watch out for that. What do we have here? Swig of Fury. Total damage, direct damage ability. Up to 10 entities, causes damage to combatants, strong versus single and multiple units. Causes rampage as well. Oh, that could be very annoying. Well, hopefully we'll do enough damage from range to actually take care of this, so let's find out. Alrighty, and so we begin the siege, yet again with Grimly's range superiority, and against Khorne in particular, in a settlement as opposed to a field battle, I mean, and this should mean that we have quite the advantage. That said, there's a few possible annoyances. I did forget to check whether the enemy has the summon bloodletters right in your face ability. The problem with that is that now we've had to deploy with our units of artillery, which are back here supporting, 3 units of rangers and both of our units of melee infantry, so that the artillery can fire, but at the same time, if they suddenly get hit by bloodletters, which would obviously wreck face very, very quickly, especially spawned on top of artillery, as they tend to be, so that we could actually protect them. So, yeah. Forces essentially have, but at the current time, it's not such a big deal. Ooh, Gronti Mingol looks quite cool. I like this map. It's like the, well, it's actually like several of the other dwarven maps, but I like the mine slash the city inside of this particular location while it is open to the sky, and especially with the red cornate glow everywhere. Anyway, pretty simple battle in terms of what we do. Just do as much damage as we can from range. Those Chaos Warriors of Khorne are in trouble. The Harpies be dropping from the sky or melting away, and the balance of power is already definitely in our favor. Alright, lovely. Gonna move forward a little bit to get some better firing angles, and then right back to it. Those Chaos Warriors of Khorne with dual weapons are not going to be able to defend too much against the range firepower, though we don't have a crazy amount of armor piercing. It's still clearly more than enough, especially against the unshielded units. We also do have the physical resistance on the Exalted Bloodletters here. which is at 30%, so it's going to take a while to bring them down at the very least, with no magical damage on any of our units. So what we could do, if we're going to have this army attack the Khornate faction, well, basically we have two options. Option one is to give them a Lichbone Pennant, like the armies that were fighting the dead, because they were needed for ethereal units. Or we could simply venerate Smednir, and that would completely counteract everything, because we'd get magical damage. I'll think about it. Unless I'm mistaken, we do have a veneration choice to make on Grimly anyway. And Smednir might be the best one. We'll see. I want to compare to see whether other units get buffed by by that particular veneration. But anyway, in the meantime, the enemy refuses to sally out, but also is kind of refusing to go deeper into the settlement, which means we just keep hitting them with our quarrels there. And now they're starting to suffer quite a bit. The balance of power continues to creep forward at about, I want to say, 65% in our favor now. And man, these bloodletters sure like losing their heads a lot. How are their heads constantly dropping off when they're getting hit by quarrels? Man, their death animation I feel like should be different when they get pincushioned as opposed to when they fight in melee. Or else it seems like their heads are very loosely attached to their bodies. They're very odd. Kind of funny though. Alrighty, well, that's about it for what we have to do in terms of this battle. Just continue the bombardment until the enemy is dead, and the enemy is nearing death, though I suppose demons aren't technically alive, really, but nonetheless. Another unit about to melt away, and this is looking like it's going to be a very easy battle. I was expecting at least some pushback from the enemy, but it looks like we're not getting much in the way of that. Hey, these guys aren't losing their heads. Huh. Wait, was that the... maybe Exalted? No, this one lost its head, never mind. I was about to say, perhaps it's the Exalted ones and the regular ones that have a slightly different animation, where the Exalted ones, they just get pincushioned and fall down, whereas the others lose their heads, but nope. I guess they both have that animation. Alrighty, well, a unit of Spawn of Khorne is running around, but I think the battle is actually pretty much ours, so we can just speed it up a little bit while this thing takes more hits. And we'll find another proper battle afterwards, I'm sure. But I do think it's necessary to do it this way. A little bit obnoxious, but what, are we supposed to put our ranged units into melee just so that the enemy could hit us? It doesn't seem like a good idea, especially when we could get attacked by a big stack at any point, and we need to be ready for a field battle. How are you still alive? Oh, not so alive no more. There we go. Down goes the Spawn of Khorne. He seemed unhappy about that whole thing. Alrighty, and then we speed it back up. We're actually nearly out of ammunition, so we're going to start moving the Rangers forward, and the Rangers that still have ammunition forward, and the same with the rest of the melee units, because it looks like the enemy cannot summon bloodletters. Unless we don't have to be threatened by the concept. And down goes the second Spawn of Khorne there, or wait. Now it goes down, yes? What are you at? 300 HP, okay, well, you'll die in a second. Alright, move forward, there it is, now it should die. Grimly, try not to get hit by our own allies. There's a volley right into it before and Grimly got there, and there we are. Battle should be over any second now. Balance power's at about 85% in our favor, maybe 80% in our favor. The rest of our units are moving up, though to be fair, once again, we are running out of ammunition. The enemy is rushing toward Grimly here by himself, but he can just summon a ghosty right in front of them to distract them. And I think this is fair enough. We might as well finish the battle off like this, mostly because, yeah, we could have just stayed even further back rather than moving deeper into the city. I just wanted to speed up the battle, so I'm not even going to bother being concerned about forcing the enemy to essentially fight a single unit like this while they get shot up. Also a weirdly quiet battle, wouldn't you say? And I'm hearing their fighty noises a little bit, not as much as I would have thought. Oh, there's the horns, so I do believe the Chaos Warriors of Khorne are running away. The Ghosty, however, has dissipated, so we're going to have to send Grimly in, though only for a few seconds, as most of the enemies here are already done for. And there is, however, even though these guys are done for, there is a Blood Shrine of Khorne that's still out there, which apparently was not being hit by the artillery. So it's going to move forward. And it looks like it does have enough mass to knock Grimly over, at least. And the camera's dead. Difficult to get the camera in a good angle in between these walls here. Just trying to get some good shots of the Chaos War Shrine, or Blood Shrine, rather. Getting those spin to wins that it likes to do. Alright, a few more shots, and ooh, because of its animations, it looks like a lot of our range shots are missing. Though once again, to be fair, we do have very little ammunition remaining. A Zufbar 42-pounder hitting these units of Chaos Warriors, and our artillery once again helping out. Looks like the Chaos War Shrine is pretty much done, and as soon as it explodes, I think we'll just speed it up to max out the battle. A few more hits there, and it has begun to get banished. And away it goes. Oh, huh, it disappears just as it explodes. Interesting. Alrighty, well, there it is with that. The battle is ours. A decisive victory. Very little in the way of damage. As I said, I'm sure we'll find a better one in a few seconds. Spoiler. Alrighty, easy little fight, if a little bit unfair for the forces of Khorne. They're just getting shot up from range. Unfortunately, I spent a little bit too long waiting for the Bloodletter summons. I really need to check next time whether they actually have the ability before attacking, because it was nerve-wracking waiting for them, and then they never came. Ugh. Alrighty, well, either way, not super important, and ooh, we're about to lose +3 control next turn, which is going to be significant. But anyway, for now we're going to occupy Granty Mingle, and got a free Cooper and a free Giant Blade and a Dwarfen Tattooist, but alas, no new student. Oh well. Healing, really not all that much here, and yeah, man, Dwarven healing. It's such a hassle. I don't know, what can you do? Anyway, we are going to, let's see, we have Morgrim's Favorite and Dowie Firepower and Stand Your Ground. We have not yet decided who will be our venerated god for Grimly in particular, and I'm still not entirely sure. The Venerate Smednir for Grimly might be the way to go, because it will reduce the upkeep for Longbeards, and is the only thing that does. Yeah, you know what, I think Grimly's gonna go Smednir. Magical attacks are also very, very nice for the entire army, and the attack reduction is a little bit annoying, but how else would we get a reduction for Longbeards? It's the only one here. And 10%, while nothing crazy, is better than nothing. Let's go Venerate Smednir. Alrighty. Well, that's good, so we are going to accept that. We should also move through Obstinacy shortly. Now everybody has magical attacks, so it should at least make taking care of the various demonic units that we'll be facing off as we fight Skarbrand a little bit easier, and we'll just have to keep it in mind when we send Grimly towards his next target. Maybe we'll send him towards Kairos, for example, or whoever. Anyway, Grimly, stay here, buddy. You are going to receive your reinforcements in, what, 3 turns, maybe? 1 turn to recruit, and then 1, 2, 3-ish to get here. Maybe we can meet at Galbaraz. We'll see. We shall see indeed. Anyway, that gave us... Wow, that gave us, like, no money. Okay, damn. I was hoping that that would give us enough money for us to use Retinue to assault the units here. Or at least to try to assault the units, or maybe even assassinate the Necromancer. Do something. Not that this army is a threat, mind you, but I'm a little bit concerned about it attacking Bitter Bay next turn. Is there any way we could get a tiny bit of cash up and running? We could cancel the construction of something. Terror of Gorgoth, nothing important here to cancel construction. Nothing was started here. I guess we could cancel construction at Karak Peak. Definitely not at Karak Drin. We have the gold mine up and running here, and that is pretty darn important, so that's not the way. What about Diplo? Any way to get gold?
All right.
At least, not from you guys, because you're hated by the Wood Elves. We could do a defensive alliance with Stirland, but I think they're also hated by the Wood Elves. Well, they're not liked by them, but mostly because of their relationship with Vissenland. We don't want to screw with it, I'm not entirely sure. We could go for a military alliance with Goldtooth, I suppose. What's the likelihood of him attacking our allies here? I guess in theory he could attack Kroq-Gar, but he's friendly with both of the Cathayans, which is actually fairly decent for us. I guess he could attack the lizards as well. The defenders of the Great Plan, I mean. And we may want to avoid that if we want an alliance with them. Which is why I'm concerned about the whole military alliance, as opposed to a defensive alliance. And yeah, you know what, I think we will wait. What about Ostermark? They're just such a weak little faction. I don't want to deal with them. Lords of Jinshen, no, I think it's better to just either cancel something or not bother with the, doing anything with that unit. Oh wow, we have a lot of tool makers here, right? Oh, actually, speaking of, we are going to do something about that in a second, and you know what? We could cancel the... Oh, wait, no, we can't, because you were just there to reduce the cost of that, weren't you? Let's not do anything about that. Okay, you know what? Screw it, I think we'll be fine. He'd probably fail anyway. Let us get another research up and running. I believe it's time to start moving through the one-turn stuff. Let's start with Toolmakers Guild for the income from Toolmakers. We'll proceed to Dwarf Treasuries after that, and then we'll start going through the buffs to our various units here. Hopefully we can get this line down to one turn as well. It's just that there's so much tech, and even if every single tech was one turn, there's still so much to go through. Yeah, too bad you can't reduce it below one turn, damn. Alrighty, well, regardless. Skip, and building upgrade available, skip, and here we go, it's on the turn. Now, somebody asked whether I was going to be using the Oath Gold at some point. Greasy. And yes, we will be using the old Oath Gold at some point. I will probably do it between the episodes at some point, but generally speaking, I like to wait a little bit more to gather up a little bit more. Since doing it at the same time means looking at all the armies essentially and see where their items are missing, I like to do it all at the same time. And yeah, this guy's gonna attack here at Bitter Bay. Kind of annoying, but whatever. I'm not going to waste our time fighting with this, I think. I mean, close defeat. No, you're probably not going to be able to stop it. How are you going to kill the enemy lord? I'm just wondering whether this is actually worth our time. If this had a defensive structure, or if this had a its first defensive location, then yeah, this might have been worth our time. But like, this is probably not. Screw it. And what are you gonna do? You're gonna sack it and move away, and now I believe you're actually close enough to one of our other armies for them to destroy you. 99% sure. Let's find out for sure, though. And Grimgor boys thing failed. Creator for Alaric, creator for you, constructor. Lots of creators and constructors, which is always great. There's that income from toolmakers increase. And defeat the following army. We can do that. A brutal business. Another stonemason, another archivist, very nice. And an archivist for Gradnar, brewmaster. Lots of heroes coming in. I do know that we want archivists on you.
What needs to be done?
Because you don't have them. Actually, I think neither of you has an archivist, so if we get another archivist, we can get one on you as well. Lovely. Alrighty. Looks good to me. Now, this annoying guy. You can, in fact, be reached by Thorek, so Thorek will be the one to reach you. Away you go, buddy.
Make them pay!
Make them pay, indeed. I really do dislike that the AI is willing to behave irrationally kind of like this. Like, what was the point of that? Yeah, all you did was annoy, yes, but you lose an army for it. It really shouldn't behave as if its goal is to just annoy the player at poor cost to itself. That's not a bad amount of money. Yeah, let's take the money.
I want gold, not prisoners.
I want gold, not prisoners. You know what? Fair enough. There we go. Grudge removed very quickly. You, I guess, are going to move right back to Bitter Bay where you can heal up a little bit faster. We're going to merge these two dwarf warriors because they're not... Ooh, wait.
As you like.
I was going to remove this guy out of this army as well. You have that Master Rune of Flight. You have the Ancestral Blood of Thungni. You know what, maybe we can keep him in this army for now until we get the two engineers. It's probably going to take a while until we get those anyway. So in the meantime, you two are both Ancestral Blood Morgrim, and you are both needed in this force. So here you go. And here you go. Lovely. And do you both have archivists and students? It does look like indeed you do. Okie dokie.
Tried and tested.
Are you close to... Well, you have sharpened weapons. I was wondering if you're close to Retinue Physician, but not really. Plus, there's other stuff that we probably want to get. It's the extra healing I want, damn it. There's really no reason to have more than two, so one of these guys will go Sharpened Weapons and the other one will go Hardened Armor. I wonder if we have to leave the army and then do it again afterwards. That is a question. Alright, let's go for Rune of Wrath and Ruin for now, regardless. And then your Hardened Armor, which means you are Sharpened Weapons. And Rune of Wrath and Ruin. And then we'll send this guy, Gottry Grimson, out to join somebody else's army as soon as we can replace him with engineers. But for now, you can continue sharpening your weapons. And, you know, let's get the Master Rune of Spite as well. Alrighty, perfect. Or as perfect as it's about to get right now. Or bound, I should say, to get right now. We do need to take out the Black Fortress, so that these guys don't come back and their camp is a little bit annoying. This is their only territory, right? Yes, indeed it is. So I guess we head out there. We're mostly at full HP, so I think we are able to go into Valea's Will, sit right here for a turn, hit the Black Fortress, and then move southward towards Ruin's End. What do we have in terms of defenses here? Ooh, it might actually be a fight for Belegar, depending on what's actually sitting there. In fact, Retinue, go up here. I'd like you to keep an eye on what we'll be facing off against. Recruiter Logazor. Now, you also need to possibly provide some more quarrelers to this army, but you cannot recruit quarrelers here, and I'd rather not do it through... Well, actually, global recruitment ain't so bad. It's still only one turn. 5, 6, 7. Doesn't feel like quite enough. But if you're an engineer and you're an engineer, and then we add 2 more bolt throwers, we'll basically have room for only 1 extra quarreler. You know what? I think Thoric can just... he can just recruit that himself. Alright, you, while you're here then, are going to head to Thoric, and you can transfer these. We gotta get a lot of the artillery on Thoric's army after all. Be interesting to see how he performs though. And I'm still on the fence as to whether we just max out artillery or whether we go for more quarrelers. But anyway, it doesn't escape the fact that we're gonna need a lot of engineers here. 2, I mean. You are going to replace, I guess, the Dwarf Warriors, so you, and we're still at 20 out of 20. I guess we'll delete the Dwarf Warriors because there is no purpose to them, even though they do have a fairly high level. At this point, we can just go for Longbeards. So Recruiter Grimtideson, you are on the way to Grimly to give him his pile of Longbeards. Okay, now, is there anywhere near... Ah, yes. Okay, so... Cazador and Ungrim, are you able to reach this? You are able to reach this guy outside of the settlement, and... Ooh, oh, this looks like a fight. Alrighty, so Cazador, move right here. I'm really hoping we can draw these guys into a massive Slayer battle. And in fact, just in case we can... Gradnar of Zorn. Gradnar... Oh, damn, I was gonna have you join this army. How far can you move? Fairly far. Alright, you, Ungrim, are gonna go here. Nah, I wanted to put this guy in this army, but I'm just now realizing that the problem here is going to be we'll need to remove a unit. And I'm not entirely sure what unit. But without the Rune of Wrath and Ruin, it's going to be a lot more problematic of a battle. You know what? I think we'll take out this Dwarf Warrior. Like so. And then we'll put Gradnar in Cazador's army, and then we're gonna swap around some units after the fight. Either way, that doesn't change the fact that we need Ungrim to level up. And Ungrim, oh no, somebody pointed out the extremely daring death blows for Ungrim himself, but that still, I think, is better than the determined death blows. Though then again, dropping below 50% HP, whatever. If he gets into a really ugly battle, this is going to be much better, though I suppose not against demons. Though at the end of the day, if we can keep him at high level, neither one will ever actually activate. Anyway, Grimnir's heirs to buff up those slayers even further, and then your sonny Garagrim is going to get... I would like to get a worthy challenge. Ooh, yes. Now let's get scarred but not dead. Another massive amount of physical resistance is certainly going to help. We just got to find him some armor to get him even more armor, like we did with his rune. Cazador, you might as well level up as well. You're level 18, and I believe... Let's see, you have Honored by Grimnir, but you don't have more No, you don't have Dowie Firepower, which is for the Rangers. Very nice. Reload time and missile strength, though sadly no extra range for the Rangers. Ungrim, attack this guy. Let's see if he's willing to fight, and if he's not... We'll attack Kazadir Kulaz. He's not going to run. Oh, well, that's just lovely. This is a field battle. Well, now I'm doubly excited. I would much rather the field battle than the other battle. Why is Ungrim an underway stance? You're not an underway. Why are you lying? Why are you lying, Ungrim? Neither one of you are an underway stance. I didn't keep him an underway stance. No, that's impossible. You can't engage battle. What the heck? Okay, well that's weird, but it doesn't matter because we're gonna fight. Alrighty, here we go. Behold the Slayer tide. Both of our Slayer armies, though the second one at this point doesn't have nearly as many Slayers as it did previously, it still has a fair few. We also have 4 now units of Giant Slayers to our army's name, plenty of Regu Slayers, and of course the second army totes all those Rangers with great weapons and those throwing axes. It's a pretty fun sort of army, and we'll be facing off against quite a few enemies in the 2 stacks and that are coming out to help, though I do think we have a fairly decent position. Granted, the enemy will have a high ground, but we are positioned in such a way where we can block off anybody trying to reach our various artillery. And hopefully just take the enemy out here. Our reinforcements are on the field, and they are going to join the fray as well. One thing I unfortunately did forget was to deploy the Dragonback Slayers, which was my bad. Kind of missed them while trying to control so many units or figure out where exactly everything's gonna go, but hopefully they'll be fine. The enemy also has its summoning ability, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 free units all got summoned on the field, and it's 5 Orc Biggins too. That's actually a fairly significant increase in power as well. Kind of nice for the enemy. Wish we had that many summonings. So they have Waz and they have summoning. That? I wonder if they can use both of those at the same time in some situations. I take it the summoning is kind of like our patrol ability. It's tied to the defensive structures, I assume. That's what I would think anyway. Oh man, imagine if we had the Rune of Burning on one of the artillery pieces in this particular situation. The damage that could have been done to this pile of orcs as they move on to the field. Granted, I'm sure our artillery are still gonna do pretty good, as the enemy is moving onto the field in a pretty poor location just by virtue of the fact that there's a lot of impassable terrain nearby, so they are, at least to some degree, blocking each other. Well, artillery can have fun, but these guys should start moving down towards our main force shortly. their secondary force, and now led by a Lord, and it looks like we got more units moving down here, are going to go for a few of our Slayers that are here together with the Thunderers with Grudge Rakers, but we did hide 4 or 5 extra units of Slayers in these woods, and then 2 extra units of Slayers in these woods, exactly for this sort of situation. Alrighty, well, artillery will continue to fire, although it looks like the enemies are finally starting to separate themselves from the horde a little bit. Artillery are really going to rack up the kills here. Oh man, imagine if we had a flame cannon as well. Just anything, or a fire rain rocket. Would have been just swell. Thorgrim could have really cleaned house here. Anyway, looks like the enemies are finally in. Some Wolf Riders are going to charge some Slayers, and obviously are going to start knocking a few of them down, as the Slayers are quite fragile, but so are the Wolf Riders, and they're going to be terrified away from the Slayers, which, you know what? Fair enough. Angrund and Garagrim have the tip of the spear, as well they should be, and the enemies are going to be attacking them, and we are going to be charging right in there. And hey, the first of our throwing axes are in to support our units as well. Over on this side, we do have more enemies charging towards our Grudge Rakers, and then here the Dragonback Slayers are facing off against 2 units of Orc Biggins by themselves. Alright, gonna be a lot of Slayer action in this particular battle. Ooh, I like the gems on the gauntlets that the Slayers have. I like how the gauntlets match the axes that they have as well. Some solid fashion from the Dragonback Slayers. Anyway, they can enjoy fighting all of these units of Biggins. It's going to take them a while to work through all that. We may even send a few Slayer units to help, though I'm sure it'll take them a while to get there. Over on this side, we have more Slayers that have moved out of the woods that were hidden here, and are moving in to support the Grudge Rakers, though the latter are taking a little bit of damage themselves. They're also at the same time firing those Grudge Rakers in melee, which is quite nice. See those shotguns going off occasionally in the middle of the fray. Alrighty, and together with the Slayers, I do imagine they should be able to hold. Speaking of Slayers, the Slayer tide has marched forth to join Ungrim and Garagrim, and most of the units here are backing away from that. There is a lot of trolls on the field, and some black orcs, and tons of biggins and whatnot, but it looks like we're pretty okay. And some fire support coming in from our axes, though obviously we don't have much in the way of long range in this particular army. Or in these particular armies, I should say, but nonetheless. It's nice to see a proper Slayer tide, though. Alright, axes dropping down, Slayers finding their doom, but holding off plenty of enemies as they do as well. And more Slayers are moving in to join the fray. And now, looks like a lot of the enemies are starting to take quite a bit of damage. Our artillery has been focusing these enemy Error Boys out here because, well, the Error Boys are actually quite threatening to our poorly armored Slayers. Actually, out of curiosity, what's the missile resistance on Slayers? Do they have any? Dwarf Warrior, that's a Dwarf Warrior with Great Weapon. Regular Slayers, missile resistance 15, plus 25% physical. It's actually not so bad. I wonder if we can get it up any further. That's the way I chose to phrase that, slash a giggle. If we can upgrade the missile resistance any further on them in some way, maybe there's something in the technology tree for it. I'm absolutely loving this freaking battle. And just a massive pile of Slayers fighting massive numbers of infantry units, not a crazy amount of range on either side, and by and large our range taking care of their range. And just a glorious, unstoppable melee. In fact, let's see, how are the Dragonback Slayers doing? Oh, it looks like though they did take damage, they only lost 3 units and got nearly 20,000 damage on them and 91 kills. Very solid against 2 units of those Biggins. I'm excited to see how powerful this unit will be as they grow in strength due to the buffs that they further receive from Ungrim. Looks like the enemy Lord is still holding here against the Grudge Rakers and the Slayers that hid in the woods to ambush the enemy, but it looks like probably not for much longer. The bounce power is about 90% in our favor, and though a few enemies, I'm sure, will come back, it's looking pretty ugly. For the enemy, I mean. And the artillery continues to annoy the enemy as they try to make it back up the hill and to retreat once again. Man, if only we had extra runes of burning. It would have been so swell on these grudge throwers. Alrighty, some spider riders moving in to try to help the trolls. Ungrim's still leading his forces forward and not having too much trouble here. I think Ungrim is actually trying to run after the enemy lord, but it looks like he's gone. And with his shattering, the rest of the enemy army will follow suit, and the Slayer Tide will take the victory. Beautiful. Oh man, I can't wait to get more battles with the Slayer forces, and in fact, considering that we're close to the Darklands and with the Bone Rattlers gone, it looks like the Slayer Tide will be moving into fighting the Slaves of Jar and whatever else Darklands orcs, if there are any that remain in that territory, and moving onward towards Grimgor as well. Might as well start moving there. We're still fairly far from the endgame scenario, so it's not like we can't afford to make some distance. We can always come back, and I'm sure the Slayers will be needed for when the endgame arrives, especially since we specialized Ungrim to fighting greenskins. So when the Bone Rattlers return, and there will be plenty to kill, especially as if I'm recalling correctly, I put the double endgame scenario, so we'll be facing off both against greenskins and Skaven aplenty. Anyway, a decisive victory for us, and I'm not sure how many casualties, but I did enjoy the battle very much. Alrighty, well there it is. Glory to the Slayer Tide, though I do think they probably got at least a little bit jealous of our artillery, which certainly killed a lot of the enemy for them. And very, very nice. We got all of these massive battles. Now, the problem here is that a lot of the enemies did survive, which means we will have to either fight again or hopefully auto-resolve. We have... barely any money, but at least we got a ton of oath gold in terms of the reward for that. 334 is certainly nothing to sneeze at. Now, will we be able to auto-resolve this without losing any units, is the question. Let's see, trait gained, attack minded for Ungrim Iron Fist? I'd certainly think so, as well as a student. Can you go into any stances? No, I was hoping to pop you into an camp, but oh well. If you attack this, and we auto-resolve it, yeah, it does look like nobody will die. Medium casualties. I don't like the sound of that, but I don't want to fight a battle again that we just fought. You know what I mean? Except with the enemy having much less troops and those troops badly damaged. So we are going to auto-resolve. It's going to do quite a number on our Slayers, but we do have quite a bit of healing in this army anyway. So Khazad-Urkulaz will fall, and hey, another Archivist. Well, isn't that lovely? And Gradnar of Zorn also has himself an Archivist as well. Province secured, Northern World's Edge Mountain. We are going to pop you immediately into Venerate the Ancestors so that we can sit here for... oh wait, actually, is Nashrak Slayer closer? It's fairly close. We could go to the edge of this. I wonder. Because Grimfang is in the way, there's no way to tell whether we would be able to actually reach... oh, wait. We can do this. Hopefully there isn't an army that's nearby to come out of here, but yeah, I was wondering whether we could heal here for a turn before attacking. Auto-resolve this guy to death, well done, and Jarthra. There's a use for you after all. I knew I didn't delete you for a reason. Other than the fact that you're holding onto some of these units for us, and with that, the Bone Rattlers are destroyed, buried, one might say, in a tide of Slayers and Axes. Absolutely beautiful. And just out of curiosity, yes, we would be able to reach Silver Pinnacle in one turn, which means it's pointless to use the Venerate the Ancestor trait. Yeah, alright. Masters of Steel and Stone it is then, and then we'll be heading towards the Darkland Orcs next, I suppose. But that'll have to wait until next time, because we are very much out of time, and I am gonna have to call it here. And next time, we will probably also have a bunch of other battles to go. We will move towards the Black Fortress with Belegar, towards Ruin's End, also how dare you, with Thorek, and, well, we'll probably be beginning our battle with the Caravan of Blue Roses, who who is quite powerful right now, fairly soon. And we need them to kill enough of Gold 2 so that he only has like 1 territory remaining, and then take the rest for ourselves, but keep him alive so that we could hopefully at some point get access to his units. I'd even be willing to trade him Black Fortress so that he can hold this entire territory, if we can have the Mountains of Morn for ourselves, because there's a lot of rich trade goods there. Anyway, more dwarfs to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.